Your team 2. Your team 3. Ready? Okay.
Okay.
You're going to take some of the poster cardboard pages that you have there, index cards, those things, and pick a color that's fabulous to you. And you're going to get together with your team, and you are going to find 10 points of commonality. 10 things that you have in common with the person that you are teamed with.
You have to you're taking orders.
All right. Okay, so y'all can, rule number one is that it cannot be body parts. Okay, no feet. I have 2 feet, that's not,
Who doesn't
that's
have a partner? No,
you're on that team.
So if we have to find a common, it's agreeable, it can't be like 2 of us have something in common.
All of the group has to have 10 things in common. It can't be clothing and it can't be body parts. Should take about 7 minutes if it does. Maybe.
Winston.
Yeah, you
I'm not doing it. Hey, did y'all sing? Same old.
Yeah.
Or kids. Did y'all bachelor's degree? Did you use a cheerleader?
Any homework?
Do you like shoes?
What month are you for? August. Day? 27. My best friend's in October. What is your favorite color? Yes.
Yeah, you say yeah? Alright. How many is that? Right.
I use that.
Just a little bit for me, but it's still the same.
No, okay.
I'm kind of. I'm from New York, so we're both from
Okay.
You have about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Do we win?
No.
3 minutes. I think that's why she put all 3 of us together.
It can't be that good. That's in long hair. Okay. Done.
We don't have a whole lot in common.
Sure you do. You all wear earrings?
How do you do it?
You like
All
three of your hair is straight right now?
What?
You guys, all 3 of you have straight hair
Straight
right
hair.
now? Oh, colors.
Body part.
Earrings. Color.
Y'all wearing a watch? Y'all all are women. Do you all drive?
Do you all work?
Do you all own a car?
We all own a car. We do all own a car.
Own our car.
And we work for this company, right?
Okay.
Do you have kids?
We got that one already. All right, we're good. Thank you. All right, so start up here and tell us what your things in common are.
Our 10 things are, we're both in school to teach business ed, we're both around kids for work, we both have dogs, we both have significant others, we both drive, we both live in apartments, both of our names have the letter A in our names, both of our favorite color is blue, we both speak Spanish, and we're both from the Northeast.
Wow, that's great. That's a lot of things you can find in just a couple minutes. Okay.
We are all 3 living in Atlanta currently. We're all employed. We all own black cars. None of us are married. We all have a bachelor's degree. None of us are homeless. We are all in our 20s. We own iPhones. We are not Greek affiliated, no sororities or fraternities, and we are all enrolled in the master program.
Awesome. And that didn't cross many of y'all's. Yeah, they're almost exclusive. All right.
Okay, we all have the same job. We all love dogs. We all are not married. We don't have any kids. We all like shoes. We all have an iPhone. We all like Mexican. We love the beach. We all live in Georgia, and we all have a car that we own.
Great things to have in common with each other. Did people from opposite groups find that you had things in common with other members of the group?
No, they're way too young.
iPhone.
All right.
Good evening, and thank you for participating in our icebreaker. We are the WAB consulting. To my right is Bonnie Reed, and to my left is Abiola Olude, and I am William Carter. And what we're here today is to give you information that will help you understand financial literacy. But what we want to do is something totally different than is normally presented. What we're going to do is kind of take a pulse, your pulse, on where you are financially. We want to know if you are well or healthy, if you are in critical condition, or is your finances comatose. And if it is, we're going to do some things to bring it back to life. So we ask you to get involved with what's being said here. We want to help you understand the financial terms. We want to help you understand the difference in financial literacy and financial capability. So we have a lot of information. And again, we want to take your pulse to see where you are in your financial health. Now, there is a direct correlation between your health and your wealth. And if one is struggling, eventually the other will struggle as well. So as you can see in the slide, there's a lot of things that goes along with health and wellness and finances. So we're going to do the best we can and to kind of weave out, straighten thing out, get you back where your pulse is regular and normal.
All right. We are on page 5 of your handout. And in this section, okay, yes. So we're on page 5 of your presentation, and in this section, we're going to assess your financial health. The quote that we have that introduces this section is, "You've got to be masters of your own financial future." Let me introduce myself. I'm Bonnie Reed, and I am the Chief Compliance Officer of the Georgia Banking Company. I'm also a member of the WAB consulting firm, and I'm very pleased to present to you today a workshop that Georgia Banking Company asked me to do and to put together for this group. And we are rolling it out first to our employees. And I appreciate you taking your time out of your lunchtime to come and be involved in this program. We're going to, as Georgia Banking teammates, we're going to find out how we can improve our financial health as a financial institution, but also as individuals, okay? So this part here, establishing a roadmap to your financial future. We're going to start this section off with a bucket list. Is everybody familiar with the term bucket list?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, things you want to do before you kick a bucket. Yes? Okay. So everybody's going to name a bucket list item. think of one or two in your head. Try not to repeat what someone else has said, okay? Think of one or two in your head. You can jot it down here or on a little note card. Bucket list item. We'll start right here. To get married before you die, you want to get married. Okay?
I wanna go to Paris.
I would like to take a trip to go scuba diving.
Awesome.
I would like for my bank account to hit $1 million.
Okay.
On a yacht.
I would like to jump out of a plane.
No.
With a parachute.
Ride in a rodeo. Ride in a rodeo as a participant or a
Horse.
awesome.
I want to zip line in Costa Rica.
Nice.
So some of those things have things in common. All of those things have something in common. What might that be?
Money.
Risk.
And your financial future and your financial health is at risk today. And we're going to try to get that under control. Okay. Our first, no. Well, yes. Okay. Our first objective today is you're going to find in your work packets, the first item there is called performance objectives. And as we go through our practicing of these topics, and as we meet our expectations, you have to know what you're headed for, okay? And this first worksheet is going to help us figure that piece out. All right? So we're going to do some stretching. We're going to, in this, look at our long-term financial future. And our long-term financial future is like a roadmap. We know where we want to go. We want to get married. We want to go skydiving. We want to ride in a rodeo. That's where we're going, okay? And along the way, there are stops in our roadmap, okay? We have to figure out how to reach that first stop, and then we have to navigate to the next stop, and so forth. And that's what we're going to do with the calisthenics that are in this activity. So, your long-term financial goals will start with, number one, will be your bucket list item. That's the one thing that you have said already that you know you want to do as something to reach for. And then as you think through the items that we talked through today and during this workshop time, you'll come up with other things, other financial goals. You may have had 2 or 3 more. Well, you might want to get married, but you might also want to have kids, and you might also want to get them out of the house someday. Okay? All those are goals. They may be interrelated. But you also need to know how to get there. So you've got some long-term financial goals, and then if you'll turn the page, there are going to be some short-term financial benchmarks. Actually, we need to go back one. Goals and benchmarks. Can you go back one? So goals, right? We're in the middle of the soccer thing. So we have goals, soccer thing, and we have benchmarks. And are we going to stand, right, because this didn't make sense otherwise, right? So are we going to stand, or are we going to sit on the sidelines and watch our lives go by? Do we know what we have to do to make it to the bench, right? Do we know how we're going to get off the bench and get to our goals? Okay? So, short-term benchmarks. What do you have to reach before you can make it to one of your long-term financial goals? Okay? Think of something related to your bucket list that you can do in a short period of time that will help you reach your financial goal. of your bucket list item.
Do you mean like, so like if I want to take a trip to go scuba diving, I should like maybe save like $1,000?
You might want to save $1,000. You might want to make a vacation budget so that you know how much you need and can save up to that, right? You might need to take horse riding lessons or buy a horse, right? Oops. Think of something that goes along with your bucket list, and that's what you'll put on your short-term benchmarks. And as we go through the rest of this workshop, you're going to find techniques that you can implement today, things that you can do today to help you on your way to your short-term benchmarks and then eventually your long-term goals. And then you're going to find things that you can't do today, but will lead you towards something you can reach tomorrow and something that will be a benchmark and something that will be a goal, okay? So it's a process. You start from the end and you work your way to the minutia, okay? For example, one of my bucket list items is to go to Walt Disney World for a week and not have to worry about how much it costs. Because my budget doesn't afford Disney, okay? So if that's one of my financial goals, to go to Disney and not worry about how much it costs, I'm going to need to, that's my bucket list, right? So my short-term benchmark might be to set a budget. It might, a vacation budget. And then I might need to save some money, figure out how to save some money, right? I might, although not recommended, want to figure out how to raise my credit score so that I can lower the interest rates on some of my loans and then pay less a month towards that loan. I don't necessarily want to get a loan to go on vacation. I wouldn't do that. But that's something you can do, is lower the interest rates of your loans, refinance, and there you'll have more money to sock away to your vacation. Okay? So all those things you're going to find in this group of activities and fill it out as we go along. Any questions about this? This is not something to do all of right now, but it's certainly something to think towards. Setting a goal, having benchmarks. Yep. Okay.
Are we feeling a pulse yet?
Anybody, you know where you're going?
Feeling a pulse.
Yeah.
All right. This next topic is determining our the root of our credit. Diagnosing our financial health. It's got my sick piggy on it. Oh. You see this is the Dr. Piggy. You see our sick piggy? Yeah, here. He's sick. He really doesn't know what's wrong with him. He's sick. So, in the full term course, we would look through these YouTube videos and decide what those things are that made these. There's people in these videos that have financial problems or have had financial problems in the past, and we would be diagnosing them. In the matter of time today, we're not going to go through that actual example. But can you name, as a group, you don't have to be too personal, the things you might add to that would cause a financial woe, a credit woe?
A car accident? Totally.
Car accident, yes.
Having a baby.
Getting fired from your job.
Yes. What else? What might cause a credit woe?
Sickness.
Yes. Or a loss.
Oh, yeah. Like the bread passing away.
She gets inheritance all that,
Unless they have life insurance in that case.
What else might cause a credit woe?
Refinancing.
Or inability to in your house.
Possession or eviction?
Spending more than you make.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Yeah.
That would do it too. Child support can get you it.
Yeah.
Divorce is a big one.
Yeah. Drops your credit score like it's usual.
Is it true that your credit score drops when you get a divorce? Just because you're getting a divorce? Is that true?
No.
Like
Well,
just
it
by
depends how much credit you had together.
It
and
has
it's
to
not being
have,
paid.
yeah, there has to be circumstances
Okay.
that make it change. Like, one of them doesn't pay the
Yeah.
bankruptcy?
bankruptcy.
The husband and wife could have separate credit lines. So one is being expressed by the other, still have credit line.
Two different entities.
Ooh, taking out loans and then, like student loans and then not finishing, so you can't pay them back.
Never understood.
Like not finishing.
Like not finishing school, so you don't make the money to be able to pay back those student loans.
Yes, the
Having
deferment
to
only lasts
pay
for
for
so
something
long.
like
Yeah.
a wedding or something?
Deferment loans until like 6 months after you graduate. Or unless you're still in school.
Or
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna agree with me, girls.
Great. One of the ones you would have seen in this list here is a gentleman whose credit score was messed up by the credit companies. And so for a whole year, he fought with credit companies because of information that was put on his form, in his credit bureau. It wasn't identity theft, it was just information that was put in his credit report in error.
Oh, I know a good one.
Okay?
Identity theft.
Identity theft, yes.
Did they already say that? Did we already say that?
Identity theft and credit score errors. Okay, so all of these can help you diagnose if you have these kinds of issues, then you can trace back to the root of your credit woes, all right? That's where it starts, and then how you get out of it is the important part, okay? Again, if we had time, we would be taking this financial quiz that is at the bottom of page 6 of 28. It is a 5-question quiz, and it's a lot of fun, so if you want to take it later, you certainly can. The information there, you answer 5 questions, and the lady on the video, she's a lot of fun, she's very pretty, and she will take the answers to your questions, and she will formulate a credit plan for you, or a financial health assessment for you. Save some more, pay down that, do this or that, in only 5 questions. It takes about a minute to get the questions answered. So I strongly recommend that in your own time you do that. It's a lot of fun. Alrighty. So this section, to conclude this section, you have to determine what your current financial health is, and then you want to figure out where you want to go and how to get out of it, and it takes baby steps. Okay, so go from the where you want to be to the how you're going to get there. Okay? All right. I'm going to turn it over to all y'all.
Hello.
Hello.
Are we tired? No, really tired. Let's play a game. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Let's play a game. Yeah, the kids too.
So you don't look so awkward at all. Yeah, I don't even have shoes on.
Okay, so I'll have you guys have a second, please. At the other side. So since we're talking about money, finance, we play a game about money. So to just warm up and ease ourselves before we go into the next section. Okay, so, yeah, okay. So this is a gift for the winner.
How sweet.
The game is a very fast-paced game, so people are going to drop out very easily. So if you drop out, you just pick a gift and you go back to your seat. So we have a winner. of the game is called, really? It's called Watch Your Movies. So, we're gonna make up movie titles. It cannot be more than 3 letters, and it has to make sense. So we're gonna go around
3
and-
letters or 3 words?
Sorry, 3 words. And you cannot repeat what someone has said before, and you can't stutter or hesitate for more than 2 seconds. So if you repeat what somebody has said before, you leave. If you
So they're movies that have been made.
it doesn't matter, have been made, or you can make it up, but it has to make sense. You can't say money chair table. No. It doesn't make sense. So
But it has to be about money.
money has to be there. Money has to be the
word
first
money.
one.
The word
The
money?
word money
Okay.
has to be there.
Oh, you have to use the word money.
You have to use the word money in it. So I'll stay here because I'll moderate. So are we ready? I'm not playing, so
Yeah.
don't wait for me.
So we going around.
Who's starting?
Who's starting? Who's starting?
I'll start.
Okay.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, go.
Find my money.
More money now?
Money spent. More money, more money.
That was 2 words. Yeah. Oh, I can.
You said up to.
I just said up to 3 words, right? 3. Wow.
Oh,
Well, she did more money, more money.
Yeah, she said
That's
4.
4.
That's 4 1. 4
No,
1.
you said forward.
I said more money now.
That's 3. What did you say?
More money, more money.
Oh, that's all
Okay,
right.
I'm out.
This is a hot game.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, so you start.
Okay, we love money.
Show me money.
Money never sleeps.
Wall Street again.
Yeah,
Money won't change.
yeah, you said.
4 words.
Yeah.
Get again.
Pick a gift and spend money now.
Money with friends.
Money goes fast.
Money in college.
Money rules everything.
I like money.
Money with money.
Money rules me.
Money and sleep.
Yeah, I'll
Take
take
out
it.
money.
I have money. Okay?
Kids have money.
Okay? Yes, so you have to.
No money here.
Okay?
Friends spend money.
Okay, it has to be
Oh,
fast.
she plays.
Oh, okay. Can you come here, please? Okay, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, go.
Boyfriend has money.
Eat my money.
Money by the law.
Loss of money.
Money is fun.
Money for shoes.
Okay, I'm not gonna fun this.
Can't play.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Fans love money.
Okay, so it's just
So two.
yeah. Are you ready?
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, go.
Money for weddings.
Pocket your money.
Yeah.
You should have put money in there.
Okay, you have to pick 1, 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Money should check.
What's a good one?
Okay, so yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did that.
I have to. Okay, so we're going into.
Money buys donuts.
Show me the money.
It does.
No, that's more.
So right now we're going into a section called a fine thin line between wants and needs. I'm sure you're wondering, like, how does this relate to financial freedom and financial literacy? But the truth is, there really is a fine thin line between wants and needs. Sometimes the line is invisible or non-existent, and it's really easy to cross the boundary without even knowing. So you have to be really conscious about what your wants are and what your needs are, so you don't mix them up. Of course, we know what needs are. It's simple, but at the same time, it's really hard to put it into our daily activities or daily transactions. Needs are the things we need to survive: food, clothing, shelter, that we cannot live without. Wants are things that we don't necessarily need. We can survive without them. Let me just throw this question: why is it really that simple to distinguish between your wants and needs? Like, why isn't it like ABC or like this is what I want, this is what I need? Like, why is it? Yeah.
I think sometimes people are accustomed to certain things or something that they've had like their whole lives, and so they can't imagine not having it.
Okay?
For example, I think they should be married to my husband, because he always gives me his paycheck and he says, only buy what you need, not what you want. He can solve all your problems.
I was gonna say, an example is I actually need shoes, okay? I don't necessarily need $400 shoes.
Okay.
Right.
But those are comfy.
Exactly.
They're better for your feet.
Any other one? Okay, so the reason it is a very thin line and you were all right, well, in my opinion, is because sometimes we get carried away. We need shoes, but we don't need $400 shoes. We need a car, but we don't need a Ferrari. We need a phone, but we don't need an iPhone. That's yeah. See, Mr. Jerry. Mr. Jerry needs a car, but he wants that car. He wants to go to London, but does he necessarily have to take a first class? No. He needs a toothbrush, but he wants this because this is fancy and it will last long though, but at that moment it might not fit into his budget, so he doesn't need that. He needs entertainment. He can get that for $9 or get this for $15. He needs a phone urgently. And he cannot afford an iPhone or a smartphone, but that's what he wants, but his budget will not allow him. So, okay, so can we look at this picture and just anything? What can you point out? Say this person is diabetic.
Okay, they're diabetics. They could X out all the McDonald's.
Right.
So they got the whole thing.
Well, the salad's there.
No, they got the salad.
But everything's cheaper. The salad's more expensive.
Yeah.
True.
And the truth is, in real life, our wants are really more attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you place your wants and your needs together, your wants are more attractive than what you actually need. So it's actually very easy to go for your wants and then neglect what you really need.
Sorry.
So, how can we, it's really not simple, it's not rocket science. Even I struggle with it. I love shoes. Like, I wish I could have a pair of shoes every month. I want them, but I don't need them. It's, yeah, in the end, it's going to waste or something. So, how can we go about trying to distinguish, because we can't do a perfect job, we can only try to an extent. So how can we go about distinguishing between the needs and wants? One, we have to create financial goals, your long term and your short term. Number two, we have to create monthly budgets. I know it's hard, but thankfully now we have apps that can help us create monthly budgets. And then when we create monthly budgets, we have to, for that month, we have to distinguish between our wants and needs. We could say, oh, how do I know what I want, but how do I know what I need? But really, deep down, we do know what we need and we know what we should get at that point in time. And then number four. Number four, even though we have distinguished between our wants and needs, we now have to arrange our needs in order of priority. Because sometimes it's not everything we need that we should get at that point in time. It might be, you might need it, but you might not need it for that month, and you could do something else with that amount of money. So if you arrange your needs in order of priority, you get the ones on your top list, and then you leave the rest for later when you have more money. And then number five, at the end of the month, we need to go back and see how much we deviated from our budget. And most times when we deviate from our budget, it's because of the wants that we needed to. We don't deviate from our budget because of the needs or the things we need to do. We don't deviate from our budget because of the utilities or the phone bills. It probably was because of maybe a phone case that you were not supposed to get or something yet. So when you do that, your you're able to check and balance yourself for the next month. So that being said, we need to distinguish between our wants and needs. If we don't, we become financially sick. And when we're financially sick, we go to the financial hospital. When we go to the financial hospital, you end up like this guy. Don't end up like this guy. Distinguish between your wants and needs. Alright, so that being said, I'll hand over to my colleague, William, to take us into the next phase of this workshop.
Thank you, Nadel. I'm going to talk about something that I know to talk about, and I'm sure you love to talk about and do it, and that is spending. I really love talking about money. Is there a problem with me wanting to talk about money all the time or spending all the time? Could be, could be. Behavioral psychology has placed just about everybody in 4 categories of spending. Some people are impulsive with spending. Some are compulsive with their spending. And some just have various ways they do things. So what we want to do is just quickly look at some things that you may be able to identify with as it relates to your spending. Then the other thing I want to talk about is saving and investment. Now, category 1 is sanguine, and it's a cheerful, optimistic, confident person within there. Okay. And the strength of that person is, and you should have in your booklet, is humorous, good listener, organized, strong work ethic, conservative. But some of the weaknesses are stingy, quiet and passive, lack motivation, avoid responsibilities, then avoids conflict. So we can see that just the strength and the weaknesses of this first category is a conflict in itself. The second category is caloric, and that person is very independent. And I guess as you mature, you'll get to a point where you are independent. But as young people moving through life, we may not be as confident or independent as we would like to be. So we are in category number 2. And that's our ability to control spending. We basically just might got everything we want at the young gentleman's age. His spending is probably curtailed to a great extent. He balances his checkbook to a penny, and then he possesses good self-control. The third category is melancholy. And this person is depressed, with low spirit. And just think, when you have low spirit or depression and you go to a mall, even though you don't have the money, and you have that credit card, because you're depressed, you know that would make you feel good, you may use that credit card to buy something that's going to change your attitude. So, excuse me, as we diagnose your financial health, we want to make sure that you understand what category that you're in. Now let's look at category number 4. This guy's on top of the world. No problems. He never gets upset. He is just happy. Is that something wrong with that picture? Is that something?
Laissez-faire. It's laissez-faire.
Okay. So his strengths are his resilience. That means that he can make investment, lose investment, and he'll bounce back, and he's still fine with that. He's practical. He's just not whimsical. He's not just out there just doing things. He makes logical, reasonable strides. But some of his weaknesses are he has a history of debt, and he's never content. So if you're never content, that means that you because you're up so high on top of the world, how did you get here? It's possible that you use indebtedness to place you on top of the world. Now, if he's not very careful, he will not be up here, but he'll go down here. And his world will be on top of him. So those are the 4 categories that behavior psychologists has put us in our spending habits. So we need to be aware of how we spend. And knowing how we spend leads into saving and investing. Because if you spend all your money on frivolous things, you're not going to have money to save and invest. Go back to the colorful. Okay. Your money has a mind of its own in some cases. Your money grows by using OPM, other people's money. And if you can grasp that concept of using other people's money, then you can use your money to make more money. And I think that that's something that we don't think about, is have our money work for us. So in this next slide, I want to show you how this OPM and making money grow works. Okay, bankers, and all of you who work in banks, have heard of the term Rule of 72. What is the Rule of 72? The Rule of 72 says if you take the number 72, and if you take an annual interest rate and divide that rate into 72, then your quotient or your yield will be the amount of time it takes your money to double. An example, let's say you went to a bank and you got an interest-bearing note and they're going to pay you 3%. So you would take 3%, divide that into 72, and if my math is correct, that's what, 24 years? It would take your money 24 years to double. Now, let's invest $1,000. I just gave all of you $1,000. Let's invest that into an interest-bearing account paying 3%. In 24 years, you have $2,000. If you don't touch the money, you leave it in the account. Now, let's go to the others in there. Let's say you had an interest-bearing note that's going to pay you 24% interest. And you divide 24 into 72, and that should yield, what, 3 years? So your money is going to double every 3 years. So if you took that same $1,000 and invested into an interest-bearing account with 24%, every 2 years, then your $1,000 will be $1,000 plus another $1,000 plus the interest that it accrues as well. So you can see the value of your money making money. Now, here's what the banks do. We got any bankers in here? Okay, here's what the banks do. The bank takes your money and they say, well, we're going to pay you 3% interest. And so what the bank does is go out and find an interest-bearing account paying, let's say 12%. So they pay you 3% of that, and they keep 9% of that. So that's how it works. So you can't get ahead in interest-bearing account with paying low interest. You have to have a high interest-bearing account to actually make money. But here's the risk. The higher the interest income that is, the greater the risk. So you may find an account instrument that's paying 18%. But what are the risks involved in that? So you have to be careful because you could lose the whole 18%. So it has to be a safe, less risk bearing account. And that's where a lot of these financial institutions get us. Because they know we need the money now, and we look at 3% and it's good, but we don't know the whole story about the other 9% that they're getting for using your money. So they use the term other people's money, which is you and me. So we need to look at that and see if we can flip that so we can use that formula of other people's money. So you look for interest-bearing account that's going to be safe, but yet that's going to pay you a higher rate of interest. And if you look at the chart, it will give you some ideas of how much money you can make using the rule of 72. Again, the rule of 72 says if you take an interest rate divided into 72, then the amount that is yield is the amount of time it takes your money to double. So if I had a couple of $1,000, and if I was willing to take the risk, I'd look for an instrument that would pay 24%.
Do you know one?
Good luck.
Well,
Say, do you know one of the
there may be some out there, but again, you have to be in the right circles to get that kind of return. Are there any questions?
That
If
was
the
my,
banks
that was
go
my,
through then, like, if the banks are going to 12%, but we're only going to 3 because we're
Because
secure with that bank.
the bank go into the secondary markets. And in the secondary markets where the money transactions are being made. And we are not allowed, per se, in the secondary market. Just like mortgages, the mortgages go to the secondary market. They go into packets, and they go and sell them in blocks. So that's how they get their money back. And they'll be glad to have you default on the 3% so they can have your money. That's what. Okay. Then I think we're going to talk about credit and our final checkup. Are we feeling a pulse yet?
I feel it.
You feel it? Okay. Because again, if you're going to diagnose your financial health, there has to be a pulse. And not only does it have to be a pulse, we have to be in the right frame of mind. And I think that's what we're talking about basically, is being in the right frame of mind when it comes to spending and saving and investing. Now I think we got back to Bonnie.
We are skipping through a couple of the activities that you have because we don't. This workshop is generally designed for a lunchtime series over several weeks. So we would do each topic for two lunchtime series during the week, and then we'll do another topic the next week. But that's how this one will go. In this last section, this credit report and final checkup, we're going to be discussing credit reports. We're going to be ensuring that we are setting goals, and we are going to see how we can coach others in this particular section. So, have you picked up any items in topics 2 or 3 which were wants and needs, determining your wants and needs, and how you can save, that you need to add to your long-term objectives, to your short-term benchmarks? I want to go out and find the 12% interest rate thing that William's talking about. That's my short-term benchmark so that I can reach my long-term range goal of going to Disney without having to worry about the bills. Okay? And have you picked up any tips that maybe you can use along the way. Just make sure you're noting those as we go through. Okay, next slide, yes. We're going to talk about credit reports. Credit reports are like your personal health, physician's, his secret papers that he holds inside his little envelope when he comes into the diagnosing room, and he's going to pull it out and say, "Oh, your cholesterol high, you weigh too much." Your credit report is just like that, because you do not always see, and a lot of times consumers don't always take the opportunity to see your credit bureau. You do not see the credit bureaus that your lenders would see, okay? But recently, in 2009, the government made every person be able to see a credit report of your own from each of the 3 top credit bureaus. And this is the only place where you can go and get it for free. Okay, so you go to HTTPS and creditreport.com. Don't go to any of the ones that want to sell you or send to you on TV. Okay, you need to go to this guy and pull your annual credit report. Okay, and actually the next slide will show you the names of the 3 credit bureaus. They do have different scoring methods. We're going to talk about the most common scoring method today, but they do each have different scoring methods. The ranges on credit reports go from 350 to 850 on these, okay? If you have a Discover card, you will see, and those are credit scores, you will see on a Discover card, they go up to 900. Discover has decided they are going to create an extra 50 points for you. It's a bonus for using Discover card. But these 3 will have your credit scores. They do score differently, so they have different rates when you, or different scores assigned to them based on which one you pull. So when you are pulling your credit score, make sure you do pull it from all 3 of these entities. Can anybody tell me why you think the information on these 3 might be different?
Because their weight is different.
Their weightings are different. That's one reason why credit scores would be different. What else?
They pull at different times of the month.
They can pull at different times of the month. Right. What if you've already made your car payment when this one pulls, but it was before when that one pulled? Okay? What else?
They update different times of the month.
They update their yes, they do. They update their systems at different times of the month. One relatively unknown thing is that banks don't have to report to all 3. Banks, and this one being here in Atlanta, Georgia, at the corner of 75 and 85 Split in downtown Atlanta, is where most of the banks in this area report. They don't always report here and here. Mortgage companies will report there and there. Larger banks do report to all 3. Smaller banks do not. So Equifax may have more information on it than some of the others, so they don't know to score you there. Okay, they don't know that you've got that other credit. They don't know who you've been to and who you've seen and not seen, these other guys. So they may not be able to properly score you.
So is there any way that you could update them on your own?
You absolutely can.
You can never.
You go to annualcreditreport.com, right? You pull your list, you see if the 3 match, and then you call the numbers on each one and say, you know what, I got an account at XYZ, I want you to put it on there. And they'll go get it and put it on there. It may take them a little time, but they're required to make sure that they have a complete financial picture of you. Yes.
How do you get things off of your credit report that don't belong on there?
Absolutely great question. And it goes right back to this one here, the identity theft and credit score errors. These things are other things that you might see when you go to your credit report, is things that don't belong to you or things that they put on there in error, okay? They may have recorded your dad, and I have seen this, where Joe Brown Senior and Joe Brown Junior. Joe Brown Junior's loans are on Joe Brown Senior's credit report, and Joe Brown Senior is dead. All right? So when Joe Brown Junior goes in to get a loan, Joe Brown Senior says, or the credit report comes back and says, hey, you look great to be dead. I didn't know that you would look so good because your credit report says you are deceased. All right? So those kinds of things, Social Security numbers that are very close. Sometimes, I mean, we're all people, we fat finger a number, and your Social Security number gets tied to somebody else's, either on purpose or not. Okay? Good question. Anything else? About that? Okay.
Let me add this
Yes.
about credit reporting. If you're in the market, excuse me, for a car or a house, and you go to different lenders, if you apply for credit at every lender that you go to, that affects your credit. It lowers your credit. So you want to be certain that that's what you want, or where you want to go. You can look, but you don't have to buy. So if you're going to have them check you out, ask them to do it without running the credit report. Because if they run the credit report, it's going, every time a credit report is run, it reduces your credit score.
Okay. We're going to do a credit report scavenger hunt. You're going to use this actual credit report that is actually the credit report that is sent to a consumer. It looks different than the ones that the bank gets. Okay? It's got more definitions. It's got more pictures so that you can see what it actually has. One of your worksheets is called Credit Report Scavenger Hunt. And you are going to, with your teammates, go through this activity and find the items that are on the list. So you're going to find the first set of items. There are 8 items to find. And there are 10 answers. You need to answer 9 now and 10 after the next section. Okay, we're not going to go through all the questions, but yes, ma'am. Right, we're not going to go through all the questions, but I want to show you that these are things that you can find on a credit bureau. Okay, and the one that you have in front of you was got the name marked out, but you know. You don't just come across those every day, so it's pretty obviously mine. Anyways, the items that are listed here, you'll find. So, can anybody, we'll just pick like 2 or 3, can anybody find the credit limit on the Discover card? 23. What is the... There should be 1 more, 2 more somewhere. Pardon me. There's a balance and there's a credit limit. So you're looking for the credit limit on the Discover card.
Oh, you have a $7, no credit limit, you said? Oh, 14.5.
14.5, what page did you find that on?
Not numbered.
Oh, they're not numbered. And because they don't number them. Okay. It's under a section called Discover. Did y'all get there?
Discover.
Okay. All right. Look towards the back and find out if there are any public records about the person you're looking at. public records. It's pretty great. Have I had, well, have I had, I told you I was boring. Very first night we had class.
You said looking through their what now?
See if there are any public records. Have I had collections, judgments? Have I been through a divorce and had a decree put against me? Do I have child support that I owe?
None.
None on file.
You're perfect.
On paper, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
You should be born in okay when it comes to this.
Yes.
So did you just buy your house?
Give those.
Huh?
Did you just buy your house?
We refinanced it recently.
Okay.
Yep. So you'll see that there's different houses. How many mortgages do I have? How many mortgages do I have right now?
More than I have.
Total number, what?
You don't want more than one house.
I don't.
You refinancing, does that count as a mortgage?
See, what did you find out about me?
Your husband must you were probably.
No, I don't have a Cadillac. What did I do?
Bought a car.
No.
They ran your credit?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
because I was looking at a Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Not me, my husband was looking at a Cadillac.
Okay, so where's the Cadillac?
No, Pentagon Federal Credit Union is another place to get cheap loans.
Oh.
You don't have to be a federal.
Pentagon what?
You don't have to be a Pentagon Federal Credit Union. You do not have to be an employee of the federal government. And the interest rate they offered us was 1.5.
Credit unions are always less than banks.
That's awesome.
Always less than banks.
Do you have to have a
No, you do not.
Credit union of Georgia, you have to have $10 in a savings account, and their
Lockheed
interest rates are always.
is $5 too. So yeah,
So where's the credit score number?
She just wanted.
you know, the credit scores are not on that form. And I'll tell you why. Because when you go to these three, they're going to give you the credit report, which is required by the government.
But not
They
the
want you
score.
to pay
For the score.
for the score.
Ah.
Okay?
Does,
So where
the
did you get
Pentagon
three
Federal
credit?
offer home loans?
Can
Just what?
The Pentagon Federal offer home
I would imagine they do. I don't know. My husband is looking at car loans there. Where can you get a free credit score? Okay, how many of you hold a Discover card? Every month, your credit score, your FICO score is on your bill.
Okay, I got my card before they did that. How do I change that?
I've had mine for, obviously, a couple of years. And they
That's
asked
why
me.
I included it. Okay.
Now, I will tell you that it's a kind of thick one.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't go all the way.
Because it can be a little bit, so a good question.
Yes, yes. And then the questions on the back there are ones that you have to actually dig in and find out about. So feel free to go through those. The next topic is actually credit score. I was going to show you this. This is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and they get disputes. You know, we were talking about identity theft and credit score errors. They get disputes, and you can go on to their website and do that. So they have had, in a year, 192,200 consumer complaints about issues, mortgages, debt collection, credit reporting, et cetera, et cetera. Student loans only gets 3%, and that's their big thing right now. Okay, so these are common errors to have on your credit score, your credit report, and that's why you need to do it. Okay, let's move to the next. No back one. Okay. So if you have a credit score, based on what your credit score is, this is just a table, and these rates are, they're really not bad for right now for a house loan, okay? So basically, if you have a really good credit score, FICO credit score, you can get an APR of 3.58, monthly payment of $908, and total interest in your loan of a 30-year loan of $126,000, okay? But if you have A 620, well, first of all, most creditors jump off at a 640 and you can't get credit under that unless you're paying exorbitant rate. But if you're going down as far as a 620, then a 5.17 annual percentage rate, comparatively, it's huge. Your monthly payment is going to be $1,095. It's a big difference, okay? But over the life of your loan, you're going to pay $194,000 for the same exact loan. So one of your short-term benchmarks might be, hey, how can I raise my FICO score? Okay, I can tell you that when I pulled that credit report, which is dated last summer, I had one number. I currently have a different number. It's 60 points higher than it was in 1 year. Okay? How did it do it? How do you raise your credit score?
You do what you're supposed to do.
Do what you're supposed to do. Exactly. This one's next. Your payment history is 35% of that. Okay? So if you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to have that. All right? What else?
Keep your cards.
Keep your cards. That's an important one because if you have a long-term card, and you'll see, like the one that's there, the Discover card has been, we've had it for a number of years, and I don't want to close it because the longer your credit is outstanding, they look for 82 months back. And if they can find that you have a credit history that long, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt and raise your credit score. Okay? All right, so that goes length of credit history. Okay, 15%. What else?
Keep the amount owed less than 50%.
Right, this actually says owned, but I got that off the internet. Google doesn't spell that. Amounts owed, 30%. Keep a balance smaller than your credit limit. Okay? One of the problems that we had when we had this credit bureau pulled was that our balances were high compared to the amount of credit that was outstanding. And you can see that on the chart on the bottom on the right-hand side, how much is available, okay? So what they recommended, which is completely counterintuitive to me, but that's what they recommended, was that we open up a new credit card. So I went to Dressbar and went on, look, I'm on some credit card. And I got a card, I got a MasterCard that earns me points to go to Disney, right? Okay, that's kind of two goals in one, right? Woo-hoo-hoo. So I have this new credit out there, but I have space on them, okay? And it helps you grow. What's something else you can do?
Pay off your debt?
Pay it off. Keep them open,
Pay it
but
off.
pay it off, pay it down. Debit card's not going to show up here. Spend it like a debit card. Pay them off every month if you want to. After you get it built up, you may want to have one that you keep a balance on, maybe a smaller balance, and have one that you use on a regular basis. And that's what we do with our cards. We get Discover points and we get Disney points for the money that we spend on our gas bill and on every bill goes onto a credit card and we pay it off at the end of the month. Okay, we don't have, since then, we don't have any outstanding credit card debt. All right, so what else? What about this one? What's that mean?
Types of credit, like a loan, a school loan versus an auto loan versus a store credit situation.
Do you know what the only kind of loan that does not get discharged in bankruptcy is?
Student loans.
A student loan.
Private student loans.
You cannot discharge them.
Oh,
So you can go bankrupt,
no.
but you'll still owe your $100,000 on your student graduation. Okay.
Can't get away from that one.
Nope, you're not getting away from it.
Is that what I mean? It's not
Can I
changing
just
that.
add something?
Yes.
Like, we all, about investing, like about student loan and investing, we shouldn't, it's good to invest, but if you have student loans and you're thinking of investing, always compare the rates, because sometimes you're investing and you have loans to pay, and at the end of the day, you're not making any interest on it. If your investment rate is lower and you're paying higher on your student loan, at the end of the day, your back is going on, you're really not making anything. So before you invest, always check the rate of your debt.
And if your student loan is earning 2%, in a car loan, or not earning, but you have to pay 2% on your student loan, and you have to pay 10% or 25% on your car loan because you got bad credit, pay your car loan off first. And then you've put 8% of Williams' 12% into your pocket. Yeah? Okay, let's move to the next one. And this gives the benchmarks, but we've seen that earlier tonight. Yeah? Okay. And the last topic we want to talk about today is something that's very important to the bank, is how do we coach our customers? How do we, as financial leaders, as people who work at financial institutions, talk to consumers every day, how did we go about making an effect in their life? How do we teach them not to kite? How do we teach them how to balance their checkbook? How do we teach them that sort of information? We need to help. We need to be the bridge that leads to our customers' financial success. And the only way you're going to get there is by doing it yourself. Okay, practice it yourself, and you'll be able to help others. And this is Art Williams. Apparently, he's a coach. Yeah, but I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, because it's not. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. Okay? And it is going to be worth it to get your financial health in order. Questions? There are activities that go along with those too.
Oh, I do have a question.
Yes.
What is your team number?
We are team 2.
And I don't think we told you guys that someone,
Someone did.
As we bring this workshop to a close, one of the things that we can do is look at models of people that's been successful. In the back of your information, is a list of things that millionaires do. So if they're making money, then that's a model that we can follow to do what they do to be successful. We may not be as successful, but we can use those successful tools to get us where we need to be or want to be. Are there any other questions?
You should have a survey
Yeah,
in the back of your packet.
to help us to be better on the next workshop. We know you have to get back to work, but help us.
Appreciate it.